Most of the Orthodox Jewish community is voting for Donald J. Trump. And by the way, I say most because there is that one guy, I actually do know one guy, and he's embarrassed to admit it, by the way, that is voting for Kamala Harris.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
And I'm going to tell you 10 reasons why the Orthodox Jewish community mostly is voting for Donald, and each one gets even thicker as we go. So you're going to want to make sure to stay for each one so you can understand the mentality of our community. So the number one reason why most Orthodox Jews are voting for Donald is because the guy fears God. He understands that God is in control of everything. When he got shot, when he had the assassination attempt on his life,
that was really something incredible. That was from God.
The first thing that he said was that it was a miracle by God. And that was what gave him the strength to continue going. As you know, an Orthodox Jewish life completely revolves around God. And when they see that somebody is not ashamed and not embarrassed to speak about God in their daily life, that resonates with our community tremendously, and we respect him for that, where most candidates are not willing to talk about God because they're afraid of offending an atheist. Somebody who fears God is not afraid. Number two, Donald Trump is very pro-business. As you know, Jewish people like business. We're entrepreneurial. We have the entrepreneurial spirit. We like to build industry, and so does Donald Trump. Most political people, for sure Kamala Harris, is not a business person. She's a career politician. She doesn't have the brass tacks. She doesn't know how difficult it is to build a business. My community respects that tremendously.
And I'm really good at business, and I can make this country so rich and so great again.
Number three, he changed the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Now, you might say, big deal. Really what it means is it's much bigger than you think. The foundation of why Jerusalem is important for the American embassy to be there is a major symbol. Why? Because what it is saying is that the American people and America recognizes that Israel is not 70-something years old. Israel is 3,300 years old, meaning Israel is biblical, and Jerusalem is the capital and was and always will be because God gave Israel to the Jewish people. That's what that means to our community, and that's why Jerusalem is important. To Orthodox Jews, Jerusalem holds much more weight than Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a fun place. Jerusalem is a holy place.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Number four, he made the Abraham Accords. When Donald Trump was in power, nobody dared to lift a finger. Not only did they not dare to start a war, but he actually harbored in peace with people that we never would have thought. We never would have thought would have peace with Israel. And Donald Trump's focus was bringing peace to the Middle East. And everybody says it. It's been a nice slogan forever. But Donald actually did it. And had he been in power today, he would have made sure that there was more countries that signed on to the Abraham Accords. Unfortunately, in my humble opinion, the election was stolen from him. Call me a conspiracy theorist. That's your problem. I don't mind. If you think that's a conspiracy, that's your problem. But had the election not been stolen from him, he would have made more and more peace treaties.
I want to thank the leaders of Israel and the UAE for their courage and for their leadership to forge this tremendous agreement. It will be known as the Abraham Accord.
Number five, he has a strong stance on the Middle East. The Middle East understands one language. Might is right. Today, we're busy negotiating with Hamas. When did we begin negotiating with terrorists? I missed that memo. You know, that was forever the stance that the United States took when it came to terrorists. When you give them an inch, they want a mile. You give them a finger, they want an arm. When you give to them, they perceive that as weakness. He understands the mentality that when you're dealing with these type of people, you have only one option. You have to rule with an iron fist. And Donald Trump knows how to do that.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he died like a dog. He died like a coward. The world is now a much safer place.
Number six, he values the traditional family unit, the nuclear family. The left has gone so far to the left. You know, you saw a few months ago, they had these transgender people parading around the United States Capitol, the White House. It's one thing what people do in their bedroom, but when you try to normalize behavior that is not normal, that is when it becomes a problem. People want to do what they want to do in their bedroom, do whatever you want to do. But once you start bringing that into the White House and you project that becomes the values of your administration, that's when the Orthodox Jewish community begins to have a problem with those type of projections and those type of policies. Number 7, he has many good relationships with many Jewish communities and many important Orthodox Jewish leaders. It's no secret that Donald Trump is a friend of the Jewish people. He understands our community, he understands our needs, he understands our customs, and he has gone above and beyond to build those connections and spend time with us. And he meets with our leaders. By the way, look at Kamala Harris. When the Prime Minister of Israel, the United States' greatest ally, and whether you believe that or not, that is the simple truth, because nobody has the U.S.'s back in the Middle East as much as Israel does. When the Prime Minister of Israel, your greatest ally, came to visit, Kamala Harris didn't have the decency to show up to his address in Congress, where Donald Trump took the time to meet with him, invited him to his home in Mar-a-Lago, and took the time to meet with him, and like a president should. A president doesn't play games. A president doesn't play politics for different political games, silliness just to get a few extra votes in Michigan. A presidential candidate is supposed to act presidential. You cannot deal with problems by avoiding them. You have to deal with them head on, and that's why Trump is our boy. Number 8, his daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. It plays a factor. He understands the mentality of the Orthodox Jewish community. He understands our values. He understands our needs. He understands what makes us tick, and he respects that. Number 9, he supports police, he supports the army, and he supports law and order. You saw during BLM or COVID-19 or all these different, or even most recently with after October 7th, the United States was being burned to the ground. There was this whole movement to defund the police. It's a crazy left ideology and mentality. The Orthodox Jewish view when it comes to government and when it comes to the police of the government is you support them. Not only do you support them, but the Torah tells us that we have to pray for the government and we have to pray for the authorities of our government so that they should be able to keep control. Because it says that people, if they didn't have the fear of the government and they didn't have the fear of the repercussions of their actions, they would eat each other alive. He, Donald, respects the police. He's not trying to defund them. He empowers them in order to keep law and order in his country. And number 10, and possibly the most important thing that I've mentioned this whole entire time, is Donald Trump is what we would call in English a mensch, a good guy. You saw recently he had this rally where somebody passed out, somebody fainted, and he left his bulletproof glass enclosure and risked his own life. Maybe it's being a little extreme, but he risked himself, and that's really not even what matters. Let's say there wasn't bulletproof glass, and let's say there wasn't a sniper, but he cared enough about one person to go walk over to them to make sure that they were okay. How many artists, how many rappers, how many people have we seen in the past few years that have had concerts or these punk rock concerts where people have passed out or mobs have started and people get trampled and the artist just continues on with the show? They don't even care. Here's the former president and hopefully, God willing, the future president of the United States of America. One person passes out at his event, at his rally, and he goes to make sure that that person's okay. And that's number 10, that he's a mensch. If you enjoyed this video, you probably see another one popping up over here. Go click that one. You're going to love it. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button. Please leave me a comment. If you loved today, leave me a comment. If you hated today, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I read every single one you should know. God bless America, and may we merit to see the final redemption with the Messiah, the Mashiach, quickly in our days. God bless.